And we're live. Yay.
Hey. Welcome to
Oh.
2023.
Well, thank you. I was going to say that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm just going to, let's see. I was actually like halfway writing that in the chat.
My bad.
I was writing welcome. I'm going to type this out. Ooh, if I can spell, right? No, I cannot. There we go. I could spell.
There you go.
Just needed
You
some
spelled
time.
Well done.
Yes. All right, cool. So, hi everybody. Welcome to Crypto Talks, our first stream for this year. The year started off with kind of like, it's been kind of interesting actually, because nothing really happened for the first few days. It was kind of flat. We had like a pre-New Year mini pump, I guess you could say, or mini move. And then we had like a huge today or yesterday as well. So I was just talking to Rob here. We were just discussing just some brief stuff, and I said, I couldn't resist, but I was trading some crypto today. Hey, I made like I only had a couple of
$4.
No, I made a couple of percent. I'm happy with that. Scalp.
So $14.
No,
No,
it was actually pretty good. I was lucky because I saw the breakout happening on Solana, and that's why I'm going to talk about Solana today. And it's
always nice. It's nice when you catch it.
Yeah. So Imre says the market is sleeping. Well, actually, not today. We have some huge moves today, but either way, before we get into that too much, so today we're going to be start doing on Mondays. We're going to try to do like a Monday TA thing where we kind of look at the previous week and just do some TA for it, kind of update everybody on kind of what's happened in the past week, and I don't know, maybe make some predictions. I don't really like making predictions, but it's like hard to resist because it's fun, right?
Yeah, of course it's fun.
Yeah. All right. So here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and just share my screen if I remember how. I'll just do this. I think that's visible for everybody. So here we go. So I'm going to start with some short-term stuff, and this is on Solana. I'm not going to check in on Bitcoin because, as you can see up here, Bitcoin has made 1.23%. Solana has pumped 15-16%, something like that today. So I thought, why not just look at this, and I'll let Rob do all the cool stuff with Bitcoin this time. All right, so here we go. So I've been looking at this. I made a trend line here on Solana, and this stretches back all the way back to right after the FTX dump right here. And it's hit that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times on the 4-hourly chart. And today it actually went through that with some volume as well, as you can see down here. So the question is now, like, what's it gonna do now? I don't know. Nobody knows, but we shouldn't expect too much. Really.
I will be very, very surprised if it doesn't see $15 in the near future, and that.
I would agree.
Yeah,
because I will show you. I will do some TA quickly here, and you will see that 15 is actually kind of. I mean, look at this trend line, 14.99. Resistance line. Sorry, now it's support because it's above it. But so I'm going to just open up the. Let's see, what did I type in here? First off, the relative strength index on the hourly is. We had this bottom back here where it went down all the way down to $8 at the end of the year. And from that, we had like a weird, super strange candle here with a huge wick down, huge wick up, massive volume, which is, I mean, it kind of indicates sort of a local bottom, I guess.
Should do.
Just from that. Yeah, should do. And then we had this move up, and we had a sideways move for a while, and you could see the RSI going up. And the RSI kind of reset down to the midline here. And I guess you could call it a bounce down here on the 4-hourly, but it's not right on the line, but it doesn't have to be. And then we had this crack through here. And now it's back to oversold. So overbought. RSI is currently overbought. Overbought. Oh. Not the same thing. So I'm not, for me, it looks like this is telling me, yeah, it's topping out right here, for now at least. So I got out here today. So I made a good like thing between here. So I'm happy. I'm gonna open up the MACD as well. I actually made some notes for once. Look,
Ooh,
Ooh,
paper
professional.
notes. Paper notes.
Yeah, I like my pen and paper. Sorry,
It's
shoot me, shoot me. But no, so I opened up the MACD here as well, and you can see how the histogram is kind of turning into from dark green to. We're starting to see that topping out kind of thing here because of that red candle here. So we got two indicators saying the same thing. The Bollinger Bands. There we go. I think I lagged out there a bit.
You did a bit there, yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. Everyone's still alive. It's good. The Bollinger Bands, I'm actually going to switch that to show the daily because you can see how it's been going through it. It's outside of it. It's overbought, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's topping out. And I'm popping this over to the daily, and it's going to show us the same thing right now, right?
I'd say what this is a good example though to show, looking there at the 4 hourly, how it popped out the top of the upper Bollinger, but then didn't really correct. And this is a good example of those times where it's like, just because it does break out, it's oversold, overbought. Considering we're talking about overbought specifically, there's no reason it can't just keep going, even though it's overbought.
Exactly.
So yeah,
it could do. I mean, we've seen. I mean, it doesn't have to mean that it has to go back down either. Like it doesn't have to keep pumping. It doesn't have to go down just because it goes out of the Bollinger Band. I mean, this is the 4 hourly. You see how it's outside, went sideways, came outside, went sideways for a few hours, then it's outside and out. So it can slide across the top, no problem, and then it can just do this thing where it moves sideways for a couple of days.
It did
and
actually
then it comes
poke
out
out
again.
the bottom.
Yeah, and even poke out the bottom. Yeah, exactly, because the constriction there, which is also why I wanted to open it on like the daily, just to kind of, this gives a good picture as well, right? When you move this into daily candles, it suddenly looks very different, right? It's still the same thing here, but it doesn't have to necessarily always dump back into a specific like line. It can always, and I mean, even on the daily RSI, you can see how it's oversold. Sorry. Oh, what is wrong with me today? It's overbought.
Because you sold. You've got selling on the
brain.
Yeah,
it's because I sold. I managed to buy here at 13, and I was like, all right, I'll see 13.5 or something, and then I just dumped it again up there because I just felt that wick started forming. I was like, no. But either way, so that's basically our short-term stuff right here. I'm not expecting to see much, I'm kind of hoping to see kind of like a back down to 15, like you said, where you can get back in maybe, if you're looking to get into Solana, and then carry on moving up. But the longer term stuff that I will zoom out to, and I think Rob, you want to say something, so I'm going to let you, but I'm going to zoom out here soon and just show you why I think it's not much to be happy about yet.
I think it's just because of how sort of supremely volatile and how far down it's gone. Even though this is, on the face of it, this is a big move up, but how much, if you look how much opportunity has actually really existed to catch those lows, the low of 8 was, people go, oh, imagine if I could buy at 8.
Yeah, that was so quick too.
You had so little time to buy that now we have a period of flat behavior. It's been flat for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and now this 16 is kind of almost just as extreme a move as that 8. And so I'm kind of expecting it will come back down, here as an example, and the overall market, unless it has a proper breakout, which is of course possible, then I'd expect everything just to sort of simmer back to the to the midline, and you can see where
Yeah.
that that 12, 13, 14 level.
Everything mean reverts, right?
Yes, but again, depends on the timeline, because if you're
Yes.
looking at after a year of downtrend, there's quite a few things where mean reverting probably means a few 100% upwards.
Precisely.
So
And with that said, now that you said a few 100%, this move for Solana right here from the bottom, if we're just checking for fun here, if you bought the absolute bottom here, which you shouldn't even try to do, this move to this top was 120%.
Yeah.
Right? Which is, it's a sizable move. You've effectively more than doubled your money if you got in here. But the way that I do things is that I try to, and I think, Rob, you do about the same thing. I try to find sort of a range. You get a big dump like this, and then you try to find the range to accumulate. And then when this pump happens, you can take profits. That, trying to wait for like this or even this here, good luck. Like,
so generally, where your cursor is, or where your cursor was there, was actually perfect, where you had that first low, and then you can see that capitulation below that low. That realistically, the place to buy is the retest of that low. But if you're following good practices, that the place to try and buy would be around $11, and then it just cannon directly through it. Now, and this then at the same time, exposes the danger of this type of short-term trading, is that when you were buying at 11, or anybody buys at 11 on a retest, were they prepared to lose 30% in maybe 10 or 15 hours after that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and then so very few people who took that bet, unless it was a long-term position, and they were just adding to their bags, they will have been stopped out. And that's why you see that, that crazy candle shape. That's why you see it, because essentially all the people who bought got stopped out adding to the sell pressure, and then all the people who shorted late got stopped out because the market was oversold. And this chart really does kind of reveal the sort of the risk. And as much as people pretend it's easy to try and make these short-term moves and do I made 80% in a day, it's not realistically possible without taking on an extremely large amount of risk.
Yeah, I think the big lesson overall, like in this, that you learn after having experience, having these things happen to you in your time in trading and investing, is that you kind of understand after a while, after trying to find the bottom, that okay, let's just find a range. It's so much less stress in trying to find a range. And I'm going to just find some ranges here for everybody, just so you can see how I do it, at least. And Rob, if you think I'm doing it in a stupid way, let me know. But
this is how I do it. Stupid way.
Okay. Well, either way. So I'm just going to put some trend lines here. So we have this long-term trend line that kind of follows the entire, long-term downtrend thing, right? There we go. And that's the long-term trend line we're looking for at Bitcoin as well, usually. At least I do. Then we have this one that is slightly less, less work to get to. Then I also found this range here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to place this from here down to here. So this is a range of resistance, basically. So for the price to get in here, there is going to be resistance because of these wicks. And there is going to be a lot of resistance at the top line of this, because we've bounced on this before, here and here. And there is a huge volume spike here, which means there's probably going to be a lot of people trying to sell ahead of that, because they know that there's resistance there. You got the same thing here. So it's a head and shoulders, basically, right? And it's like, this is going to be difficult to get past, which is at $26 something, right? And again, this is a range. This is not exactly here or exactly there, right? But then I also did a quick thing. Let me just put this on. I'm going to go to the weekly because it's easier to find the weekly close. And I'm going to pull out the Fibonacci retracement. And I'm going to place it at the weekly close down here and the weekly close up here. And then you can see how this Fibonacci actually lines up with where we currently are. So we had this kind of weird move between two Fibonacci levels. This range is here. Then we have the 0.5 Fibonacci here, which we just hit our head on basically today with Solana. And now we can also see the golden pocket here, which is 0.618 and 0.65, where the wick is actually placed. And this is a line that you could have drawn, at the top, where you were like, okay, a top has happened. Maybe you drew it here. You just pull this Fibonacci level and it's kind of followed it, bounced here, cracked through, the wick bounced, came down again, didn't work. But now we're looking at this stuff. So we're seeing resistance here, a whole range of resistance here, and then we have a resistance line as well. So it's hard to say, right? But looking at this, for me, I'm not expecting too much. We might see a move upwards, yeah, but how far will it go? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm in the same way that you have those wicks downwards. The wicks down during early 2021 were essentially a symptom of.
You're talking about these, right?
Yeah. So this is essentially a symptom of a bunch of people thinking that they're smart, short selling something which has made an extremely massive move, and then buyers coming in and just essentially wrecking those shorts over and over and over again.
Yeah.
What we now have is we have this glorious opportunity for the reverse to happen, where people will buy every rip, and the short sellers, the people with the buying power, will just bang it down time and time again from wherever the level is. If there's genuine buying power, if there's really enough genuine buying power to keep on sustaining and absorbing that sell pressure, sure, price can keep going up. I don't feel that at the moment. Quite often, that's when these kind of rips do happen. But when you've already moved 100% up, maybe it could move another 100%, or back and get a really huge wick at 30, up to say $30. I wouldn't really want to be a buyer there, because chances are it's going to come all the way back down. I'd much rather see it flatline here and really start to form some kind of base, because me and you both had the same sort of impression. Is like, where does the chart stop? It stops at $5 or around $5.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a trend line there. A horizontal line here. We were talking about this somewhere around here. We'll take the weekly close and 444. The wick is at 5 something.
Oh. So that is still, according to the chart structure, very, very, very much in play, because we have not had any. This is not a bullish chart. It's had a bullish move, and the extreme size of the move down is why something can rally 120% and still look like crap.
Yes.
This doesn't look good. However, a lot of people have made an awful lot of money in the last couple of weeks off something which doesn't look good. And it's a really good example of that, how if you can keep discipline and stick to a strategy, you can make money regardless, and how that is actually a very, very difficult thing to do, because even if you may have the right strategy, your strategy might have got you in at 11, got you out at 9, shorted at 9 and got you back out on the short at 11. You end up losing half your money, and now it's at $16. And all you had to do was wait for the dump and then start to average in every week, and you'd now be in a nice, comfortable 20, 30, 40% profit, depending on where you bought. Not 120, but with a hell of a lot less risk.
Yeah, no, definitely. This is why I do the ranges. I try to find, for me, I'm looking at this right now. Here's the range between here and here. That's the fib level. That's a pretty decent range. We have a lot of resistance above. We have basically no support at the bottom until $5, really, to be quite honest. So I'm kind of saying, I'm not buying up here because that's the top of the range. If we crack through this and start going above here, then maybe I will start buying because that's the bottom of a new range, right? That's the way I think about it. Obviously, that might be a bad idea too, but at that point, I'll make a stop loss and just get out before it's too late, so I don't lose too much. Either way, so I think we should pop to the next one. I feel like we've spent almost 20 minutes on Solana, so I'm thinking I'm gonna give you the screen here. There you go. Oh, you got the long screen. I keep forgetting that.
Yeah, the long screen.
I'll do this with yours.
So yeah, basically this is just a kind of really, really big picture zoom out that rather than say looking at one particular asset or another, just a straightforward look at total market cap and how a lot of people were talking about Bitcoin holding the previous all-time high. In fact, if I just pull that up for a second among my huge list of random altcoins, you can see this all-time high that people were talking for weeks and weeks and weeks back in June. Oh, are we going to hold? Are we going to hold the range? And no, we didn't. But we have on total market cap, and I think this is a really good example of how people, even who do just prioritize Bitcoin, can't only look at Bitcoin and can't consider that there is just Bitcoin in the world, because there is, this is clearly a whole cumulative, a composite market of the entire crypto space. And as you say, range, we're still in that range. That range goes down to say around 750 billion up to around 1.1 trillion.
Yep.
And that's, there's no real reason we can't stay in this range for months, if not years, with maybe some pops above and below it. This was 116 weeks, 800 days. Let's send it back to here. By the time we really settled into the sort of 6,000 to 10,000 range, which apart from a drop below and a drop above, Bitcoin spent 2.5 years trading sideways with occasional dumps and occasional pumps in that zone. And if all anybody did for however many years was just play the 6,000 to 8,000 range, or as this is the sort of 170 to 350 trillion range, how many times did you have within the whole market to pick some good altcoins, decide when the chart is at a good base of support? When it went up to in the middle of June 2019, the market rallied an insane amount. What's that? 325% for the total crypto market.
No.
And then came all the way back and dumped 57%. We could see something very sort of similar here, where we fade most of those gains out. That would only be 117%, say, or 100-ish, 120%, and then we come back to say here, even here. That there's just no rush. That's the, I think that's, if there's a lesson to take away, we've had a few green candles, we've had a good start to the year, and just people need to just temper expectations, because we've seen this sort of behavior before, and it unless something has fundamentally changed in the financial markets, which they just haven't, then it's too soon to be saying and to be getting too excited.
I think on Thursday, on Thursday we got the CPI release.
Yes.
Sometimes the market does these little pumps in preparation or in anticipation of the CPI release report. Maybe that's what we're seeing right now. Just a little bit of a, who knows? We'll have to wait and see.
I honestly think it's just the market being a market. We've had so much suppression, and other markets have rallied. If look at, let's be really boring and just compare the Dow Jones in terms of percentage. Now, it doesn't look, obviously Bitcoin makes much bigger moves upwards, but from here, actually, I should go on to something that gives me more than the daily hourly. From where Bitcoin crashed, it's not working. From where Bitcoin crashed, you see the bounce has barely been any bigger than the Dow Jones.
Yeah.
Than the stock market, than the biggest, most boring, stable companies. Bitcoin hasn't managed to outpace. That is not a bullish sentiment at all. That's a cause to be wary.
Yeah, I did notice something just now, actually, if I may, before we end, because we're coming up to almost 30 minutes soon. We promised some people to keep it under 30. But I'm actually we're gonna end it with this. But I actually noticed something. You see this big candle here, and this line here. This line is actually the first time in a long time where we cracked through a long-term downtrending line.
And that's a good sign.
That's a good sign. That's from April 2022. We've finally moved through it. It's only made one or two more tries.
Where's the next line top out at there?
This line is actually
20K.
I'm gonna do daily. Let me just quickly. This next line is the big daddy of the trend lines, I guess. This is the one where people are waiting for. Last time it did a move like this, and this is on Bitcoin, by the way. Last time we had some kind of line like that being cracked, I believe, was like a line like this, or something like that. I can't remember.
No,
exactly.
You can ignore that. You can ignore that wick up. That wick up is actually because Tether had a bit of a collapse, and so it's a kind of fake wick.
Like the first when this was being drawn, this line was probably being drawn here, right? And then it cracked through. Nothing much happened. Then you made a new line probably, and then something happened. Yeah, and then you had this line, right?
Yep.
And then you had. I suppose you probably put it there at that time.
So because if you look at the USD chart, that wick doesn't really show up.
Oh, okay, yeah. But either way, so like when we eventually pull it to this one where the big dump happened, once it came through here, I remember you saying that was $100 million Bitcoin buy or something that did that.
Yep.
Just there. You can't even see it.
If only Michael Saylor hadn't blown his load buying everything at the top, eh? Just think how much Bitcoin. I
can't believe you said that like that too. Nice.
Well,
sorry, children.
I meant the deployment of his financial assets.
Right. Good. That's what I thought. All right. So I think we're gonna kind of end it here. We're coming up to 30 minutes. I just wanted to kind of just say that, we did actually crack this line, which has been a pretty significant line for a while. Although that kind of happened here sort of as well.
I think even before that one that you tried, if you pull it back a little bit, you've got
this one too.
Bitcoin makes these kind of moves, and what the thing to note is that even when it generally, even though it has a
look at that, just know. So we
and
have that.
And when it started coming down and retesting that line and kept grinding out those lower lows, then that is a good position to be that's a good place to start averaging in positions. If you look there, if it wasn't for the fact that FTX had happened to collapse there, the trend was starting to sort of move up. There's no real reason it was going to collapse the way it did without FTX. So there's maybe now it's another attempt, and now we can just wait to see who else is insolvent and is about to file for Chapter 11. So
I
hopefully
think,
no more.
Yeah, I think
so confident.
I think that range there could have been this sideways movement could have happened in this range instead of in this range.
Well, that's what we were talking about that for.
But that's speculation, of course. All right.
Of course.
Yeah. All right. Cool. We're gonna end it here, everybody. Thanks and hi, Dave, by the way, and Imre. Thanks for popping by.
Hi, guys.
Good to see you guys again. We'll jump into the Discord and hang out after this if anyone wants to hang out. and we'll see if we can figure something cool out for tomorrow as well. So.
Oh, I've got plenty of cool things to talk about. Come on.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye, all.